Hi, welcome to another episode. And you guessed it, we're going to talk about Genesis, but I have a confession to make. So I've been writing about Genesis and speaking about it for quite a few years, and I have a passion for it. However, I have been reflecting on my motive and my approach, and I realize that I have not been clear in the concept of what I am doing. I do feel that my studying and my teaching has been of value, and I think God has led me to do it. It has been a journey for me, and if you've been following me, I hope it's been a journey for you too. Here's what I have come to in my thought process. I want to clarify that from the start, my goal was not to change anyone's view about Genesis. That was really not my intention. But rather, I wanted to teach people there was another way to look at Genesis 1 through 3. However, my language did not match my intent. I do, however, want people to realize that we do not have to hold to a literal 6-day, 24-hour day creation to be faithful to the Bible. The reason I believe this is important is because there are many people like me who believe that the universe is old, not just because science tells us that, but because of the immensity of the universe. I believe I hear the language that it speaks. Psalms 19, 1 through 3. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. I also think that Genesis is a story of why things are the way they are rather than the processes of how they came to be. It does not take much thought to see that evolution has dominated the creation conversation. And I wonder what our thoughts would be like and our conversation would be like if it hadn't. What I'm passionate about is getting people to trust the Bible that leads us to Jesus Christ and his returning kingdom. There are many people out there who are convinced that the universe is very old, millions of years old, and just as much as they're convinced that the earth is round. And to ask them to reject that and accept an interpretation of Genesis that denies that will not help our call to evangelize the world. Therefore, I hope that people who want to see Christianity thrive look at Genesis in a different light, a way of making sense of all that work. A way that makes sense of all the things we understand about our world without asking the people to believe it because the Bible says so. Now, I know people say, well, the Bible does say so, and you should believe it. Well, there are many things in the Bible that we have different views on. And, you may be a charismatic who believes in tongues, and you may not. And then you may be a person who believes in the rapture who may not. You may believe in a literal millennial kingdom, and you may not. And someone may point to the Bible and says, well, you ought to believe it because the Bible says so. And you say, well, you're misinterpreting it. And so what I'm trying to get at here is you can make the dogmatic statement because the Bible says so, but it might be possible, it just might be possible that your interpretation isn't correct. If they conclude that the earth was created in 6 days, that's fine, but it doesn't have to be that way. So let me start here. With Genesis chapter 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. So Moses structures the account with bookend phrases. The beginning bookend is God said, and the closing one is it is good. These phrases capture God doing some extraordinary things on our earth. Yet I want you to notice that nowhere does it say, and God said, let there be a heaven and earth. It's not there. It just isn't. The story starts with a heaven and earth where God is said to be the creator of it. Even if you disagree, doesn't it seem reasonable to say that the heaven and earth could have existed for eons before God spoke those very first words of, let there be light? And by the way, If you really want to understand what God's talking about there, try reading John chapter 1, because I think that's what he's telling us. He's teaching us what day one really means. So, could we separate the creation of the heaven and earth from the acts that are of creation that are defined by the phrases God said and it was good? In other words, can we take verses 1 and 2 and exclude those from the acts of creation defined by these phrases? I want to leave you with this, and I hope you will think about it and you'll read this passage over and over again, asking God, is this a possible understanding? Then ask yourself how this might help people who are searching to not get tripped up on the age of the earth and just accept it that God is the creator of our universe. Thank you so much for listening today, and I plan on going through some more verses here to help not convince you of a different view, but to help maybe see that there's another possible view so that we're not overly dogmatic about it and we can reach more people and see Christianity thrive instead of as we see it diminishing today. Thank you so much for listening. I love you. God does too. And have a great day.